So here's what I said, folks, to our adventurers. You, an established adventuring party who work on behalf of Galanil, the Elven King in the capital of Elisandia, as a fixer group, have been sent on his behalf following a request for aid from the dwarves of Iron Glen. Maybe I'll put the map back on screen briefly so that you can all see that Iron Glen is in the northwest of this land. With whom the elves have a strong trading relationship. Their request was light on detail, but their herald described it as a matter of concern for all of Playdean that could not be ignored any longer. Galanil has asked you to travel to Iron Glen,
Damn, what a shame.
establish the cause of concern, and assist in any way possible, reminding you that Iron Glen is a key provider of weapons, armor, and machinery to the entire land. So that was the context that I gave our players. Let's meet our today's contestants. Come on down. Firstly, this will be the first test to see if the cameras and everything are working. So firstly, let's hear from, there he is, Yero as Tembo. Good evening, Yero. Could do with a smidge more music. Thanks, Winder. I'll turn that up slightly.
Good evening.
How are you doing? Tell us about Tembo.
Okay, Tembo is a Loxodon. That means he's an elephant walking on 2 feet. He's a cleric from the peace domain. And he's had a few problems in his past few years. But yeah, we'll get to see what that means during the game.
Okay. I mean, this might touch on this. My question to you, and I'll talk directly to Tembo. So, Tembo, your Loxodon they're not that common in the land of Playdean. What kind of reactions do you get from people as you go through this world as an uncommon creature?
People will look to me and look twice and thrice. And they'll just wave and they'll pass on by.
So not too much in the way of not too hostile a response then.
No, I'm just glad they're not that hostile. I like it peacefully and calm.
Cool. Good. All right. Thank you, Tembo. Let's meet Murph. Next up. How's it, Murph? How are you? And Mel, Manny Heck, how are you, firstly?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Look at that beard coming through. Good and strong. And Manny, tell us about Murph briefly.
So Murph is a half-orc monk, left on the doorstep of a kind of secluded monastery. Ended up training in his martial arts there.
Splendid.
Brought up by the monks.
Good. Murph, my question to you. Working, you've been your group has been sent by the Elven King to go and aid the dwarves. And working as a go-between between elves and dwarves, does that sting your orcish pride? How do you feel about operating between these two other races?
Honestly, Murph was kind of brought up among the human monks. He really has no connection to, his orcish heritage. So I don't think he kind of feels that. Okay, good. Nice and easy. No hostility there. Let's talk to, welcome back, Jorn. Good to have you back with us, my friend. You were here last month. Phil, how are you, firstly?
Hello, I'm all right. Nice to be here. Hi,
Good.
folks.
For those who weren't here for the Christmas stream, tell us a bit about Jorn.
Sure. So, Jorn Irek is a drow bard from the Underdark, trained, prodigious little musician he was when he was young. He was gifted a lute, which is his pride and joy, and he has managed to tinker and work on it through his whole life. He was too good for the academy. He left there. He left the Underdark. He has been adventuring for years, as a traveling, basically one-man death metal band. His instrument has all these chambers and percussionist like toggles and things that he basically like when he plays, he is everything. He's a little full of himself. He's a little charismatic, but he's also like hungry for the history of the world because he's basically constantly writing concept albums about like the gods and the battles and the monsters of the world. And so he joins adventuring groups like the one he is currently a part of to basically get some good source material and go on some adventures and meet some new people and you know get some gigs in when he stops in a town for long enough.
Perfect. That leads really nicely into my question. Your understanding of other cultures that you've picked up as part of your bard work, if you like, has been kind of crucial to assignments like this in the past. What do you, in your experience of dwarves, what do you feel their kind of driving motivations are? What are you expecting to come across in this when you reach Iron Glen?
Oh, the dwarves, you know, there's contentious relationships between elves and dwarves, but Yorn's had some good gigs, you know, among those folks and learned some of their histories. And they are a proud and powerful people, heavy with the hammer and the and crafting themselves blacksmiths. He has nothing but respect for dwarves. And so yeah. Lots rock and stone, as Death Boy always said. Yes, very, very much so.
Magic. Thank you very much, Yorn. Firstly, let's say hello to Budja. Oh, look at this. We've got a cloak on and everything. This is nice. I like this. How are you doing, Budja?
Oh, yeah.
Hi. I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm
good.
excited. Little bit nervous, but we will see.
You're gonna be great. Firstly, make sure I've got the pronunciation on this right. Keelan, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, perfectly. Tell us a little bit about Keelan first.
Keelan is an half elf. So in this like world with a lot of different persons, she's completely fine with being not a human, not an elf. And she works for the Elven King for a long time because she's a really good spy.
So she's been spying for the Elven King for a while. That's
yes.
Nice.
She's very loyal, so yeah.
Good. I want to point out, by the way, folks, the little image tokens that we got on screen were not sent to me by the players. I just grabbed them out of my collection, but this is easily the one that looks the most like the actual player. So this is what a good. I feel like that's worked out really well. Yarrow, you look very little like Tembo, in my opinion. Something to work on. Talking to Keelan, Keelan, how do you hope that this mission to the dwarves will improve the lives of people within Playdean? What do you hope will come out of this mission?
I hope the commoners will have something that will help them in the end.
Okay.
So not only the rich people will
something for
be
all
helped
folk.
by us. Yeah, something for all folk.
You got it. Thank you very much, Keelan. And finally, last but not least, here's young Atlas. How are we doing, Atlas? Are you how are you, Mikey? Hello. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Good. Throat's a little bit sore from last night, but I can't complain that much.
That's a night in Clapham for you. I lived in Clapham for a couple of years. So
we went to the Little Orange Door. Do you know the Little Orange Door?
Not one I'm familiar with, I'm afraid.
That's fine.
But I'm sure it's. I mean, I haven't lived there for like 10 years, so it's probably changed a bit. Mikey, I know a bit about Atlas, of course. Tell the good folks a bit about Atlas.
So Atlas is a half-elf paladin. He originally is from the Forest of Taryn, which is in the sort of northwesterly part of Playdean. And he is sort of related to the Elven King.
Distant
He's
relation.
He is a relation, yeah.
Very good. Atlas, how do you feel? Obviously, you're going on this mission to deal with the dwarves, and the Elven King reminded you that they're a very important group to the entire land because of their, particularly because of the way that they supply weapons and machinery and stuff. How do you feel about the war machine in general? You know, the military-industrial complex that the dwarves are a big part of.
Well, having lived in close proximity to them, I have interacted with them quite a bit, and as a paladin, we know that sometimes we have to, use some iron.
Okay, so it's what's the word? The ends justifies the means, sort of thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, very good. Thank you very much, players. Let's jump into full screen, and then we can see the whole lineup. Look, isn't this nice? This is good. Cool. Let's make a start then. I hope everyone enjoyed meeting the players. Good evening, Firefly. Just a note for chat. I won't be responding to chat at all, basically. So I'll do a little catch up when we take a break, which we will do in at some point, probably in about 90 minutes. I'll find a convenient stopping point. The only exception to that, if people can let me know, I did see Fuera mentioned about Yarrow could go a bit louder. I've turned up the whole Discord chat now, so hopefully everyone can be heard, but just keep me posted on levels if anything starts making things tough to hear. So, good stuff. Right. So, folks, you are on the road just north of the Indigo River and have been on approach to Iron Glen. And as you draw close, the mountains of Caprice are on your east side. As you draw close, the lands around you are mostly kind of plains. There's scatterings of small woods from time to time, but it's a fairly flat land, some barren rock, and then of course on the eastern side, this great mountain range rises up. And as you round a corner, you see that the mountains form this natural defense around this enormous stone gate with a great wooden door built into the side of it. This thing is 300 meters high, maybe. It's absolutely enormous. And obviously the work of many years to build something as powerful as this, and you've come across the front gate of Iron Glen. As you approach the door, there are two guards. 2 seconds, I'm getting a sound effect. Hello, Magic Pouch. And there are two guards at the door, and one steps forward and asks for your credentials and steps forward, and it's these guys are obviously both dwarven guards, and they both bear a two-handed axe, and one steps forward and says, "State your business." Anyone can state the business.
The Elven King, we've been summoned by you. The Elven King has sent us. He said that there is trouble.
Yes, all right. Yes, we've been told to keep an eye out for you. Go on in. He gives a firm, like 3 loud bangs on the door, and you hear this gate boom, bam, 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 and the gate, the doors are pulled open, and you can just tell from the speed at which they move. I mean, obviously, it's obvious from the sight, I suppose. These are enormous doors, and they open slowly, and you're ushered inside. As you go inside, you open out into this enormous kind of hall with ornate buildings carved into the rock. This has been hollowed out over the course of centuries, and there's a town in here, and you can see the front of stores and houses, and as you enter this, you look up and you can see that there are shafts of light that penetrate into the hall from above, But other than that, it's quite a dim place, as you can imagine. It's essentially a cave. As you enter, the doors are closed behind you, and you hear that loud boom again as the doors close. And out of one of these buildings that's carved that's built into the rock, a smaller door opens, and a quite stately-looking dwarf exits this door and kind of raises a hand in peace and begins walking towards you. As he approaches, he starts to talk as he's still walking towards you and says, you must be the fixers from Elisandia, is that right?
Yes, that's us.
We have arrived.
And he kind of takes a look at you and he goes, elves and a drow and an orc and he looks at Tembo and he goes, what on earth are you?
I'm a Loxodon, sir. I'm a Loxodon. It's quite small here. I hope your hall will stay this big.
A Loxodon? He
Yeah.
turns to the nearest dwarf and goes, have you ever heard of a Loxodon? The guy just like shrugs and shakes his head. I mean, if you look around the room, there's, you know, there are dwarves going about their business, but all of them have kind of paused, and even the more subtle ones are looking out in their peripheral vision at this group who, you know, they don't see loads of elves around here, but they definitely don't see very, very many Loxodons. This has caught the attention of this group. The dwarf says, well, I'm Asnar, and I'm, I guess, the dwarven envoy for the king here, Kalanoin III. He goes, you probably heard that we've been having some trouble, and we've been forced to turn to getting outside help because we can't spare any more dwarves for this concern. And he looks at you and says, have any of you ever been into, like, caves and mountains and things?
I look at him incredulously, and I'm like, well, yeah. You could say that.
he looks and goes, aye, all right, you have. What about the rest of you? You all look a little pale, you know? Has anyone here ever been inside a mountain?
I grew up on a mountain, sir. I've never been inside.
I've been in this mountain before.
You have?
Yeah,
I have.
they're great acoustics.
He looks at Atlas and he goes, aye, you've been in this mountain before. How long ago?
Oh, about a decade ago, I think.
What brought you here to Iron Glen?
I was accompanying my grandfather, who was sent here by his cousin, who is the Elven King.
Aye, no kidding.
Yeah, and now I'm here again, a decade later.
Aye, well, welcome back. Yes, a decade ago, things would have been absolutely fine. Things have certainly taken a turn over the last couple of years. He goes, we're short on time. Let me tell you why you're here. And we didn't dare to give too much detail to our messenger because it's a matter of some sensitivity, but crucial to the land as well. He says, essentially what we need is for you to journey further into the mountain and gather a substance, a rare mineral called Tondite. He says it'll be easier to show you. Come this way. He takes you through another large set of doors, and you feel the air around you become close and hot. And the reason for that becomes very apparent quite quickly. And you see
Gianni Bartelli.
a great forge, a massive forge that's like, I mean, it's a huge rig. It's you know, this isn't just a something that one person would put a piece of metal into and hammer on. It's a huge machine that takes multiple people to operate. You know, there's perhaps 15 to 20 people, dwarves, working on this at the moment, and this huge machine, and it's some kind of metal work is being done within it at the moment. He goes, to power a forge like this requires Tondite, and it's been so long since we last mined for some that our grandfathers were the last ones, or our great-grandfathers were the last ones to ever seek any out. It's lasted so long. And we're finally at the point where our supplies have run low. We began to tunnel and found a couple of rooms that carried great store of Tondite. But as we pushed on further, it became harder and it became less and less. More recently, we sent a mining party into the mountain, and they never returned. We sent a second party to find them, and they never returned either, all save one, who came back several weeks ago. But he's been too terrified to speak ever since. He's bedbound. We cannot spare any more men to this concern, but if we don't get more Tondite, I fear the forge may only have a matter of months until it burns out altogether and we're no longer able to power it.
When he came back, did he mutter anything? Did he give any description of what attacked his group?
No. He's been absolutely mute ever since. Couldn't pry a single word from him. He's almost catatonic. Would you like to? You can see it. You can see him if you want.
Yeah, can I?
I think we should. Yes.
All right. Try not to make any loud noises. And he looks at Tembo and goes, "Can you just maybe stand a little out of his line of sight? He might. I just think at the moment that might be more than he can handle." Come on. So he leads you through the forge and into then what opens out into a subterranean plaza. And again, it's this huge open cavern with buildings built into the walls, lit mostly by torch. And you see a building that is marked as some kind of medical, like a hospital or an infirmary or something like that. And he takes you into there and into one of the rooms where a dwarf lies on a stone bed. His eyes are open, and he's lying just kind of flat on his back, and his eyes are just open and just looking kind of straight up at the ceiling. And Asnar whispers to you and says, "This is Famber. Famber was part of the second group that we sent in to find the first, and he's the only one who returned."
Yorn will kneel by Famber and just speak his name to him. Just, Famber, can you hear me?
You see that his eyes sort of dart to one side, to the side that you are, and he just looks briefly at you, and then his eyes return to the fixed position, staring at the ceiling again.
Right. We are here to help, to offer some assistance to your party. Maybe find them, recover their bodies. I say, kind of questioningly. I'm trying to be calming. I don't want to upset him.
His eyes dart at you a second time, and then return to the ceiling.
I look up at the ceiling.
Ceiling is just a blank ceiling, just like a rock ceiling.
You guys see anything up there?
Asnar is like, this is all he does. We can. He'll drink water if we feed it to him, and a bit of soup, but that's about as good as it gets.
Can I attempt to use my paladin powers?
Please. What you got in mind?
I go towards him, and I lay my hands on him, and use one of my healing powers that can remove any disease or neutralize a poison affecting a creature. See if it helps him.
So this is lay on hands.
Lay on hands. Yeah.
Yeah, you can absolutely use it. What does it look like when you cast this lay on hands on this one?
It's sort of a glowing light that sort of comes out of my hands and sort of caresses him in golden light.
Beautiful. Yeah, a soft golden glow emanates from Famber, and his heart rate, which was rapid when he was looking at Yorn, seems to slow. He sort of takes like a deep breath and almost sighs, and a feeling of more sort of a bit more comfort seems to come over him. He doesn't look as petrified.
Do you feel any better? I ask him.
His eyes dart towards you, and he holds your gaze for a few seconds and just whispers, "Fire." And his eyes return to the ceiling.
I look around at the rest of our party, and I say, "Did you hear that?"
No, because I can't come in that far.
Oh, you can't come in. What? He said fire!
Oh, but does he need water?
Maybe just keep it in your trunk for now.
Does Tembo carry a reserve of water in his trunk at all times?
No, I just picked my decanter of endless water and was like, how am I gonna put this decanter in my trunk? I'll just stand mesmerized, looking to the decanter, thinking about ways to store this thing in my trunk. Huh?
All kinds of tricks with that thing.
I turn to Yorn and I say, "Have you encountered any fire creatures in your time in the depths?"
That's a great question, Martino. Should I roll maybe a history insight? What do you think?
Yeah, go on then. Give me a history. Why not?
Okay, so it's going to be +2, and I have my luck stone. So should I add a +1 to that as well?
Certainly, yeah. That's what it's there for.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see if this dice roller is working as it should.
Yeah. First roll of the match.
Here it comes. So that's a
18.
So 18 with your bonuses. Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, I mean, I think when you've the biggest mountain range in Pleiadian is the Mountains of Caprice. So it stands to reason that you've been under them, and I think on an 18, you know that there are beasts. There have been rumors of dragons, elementals. A couple of, and maybe a couple of other things. So there's definitely the beneath the Mountains of Caprice are considered to be dangerous and not at all inconceivable that some kind of fire beast would reside beneath them.
Yeah. No, there are a great many horrible things lurking in the shadows of those mountains. We should prepare ourselves for anything. Dragons, elementals, many threats. Maybe Timbo, go ahead and fill your trunk with water.
Me?
Famba has feeling more rested and calm. His eyes close and he drops off into sleep. He's still breathing, but his eyes go into a restful sleep. And
I turn to the emissary.
Yeah.
Was he the emissary?
Yeah, Asnar, yeah.
I say, hopefully, the spell that I used on him will help his recovery.
Asnar nods with a kind of a half smile, and he rests his hand on Famba's head and says, "Aye, his temperature's better already. Thank you." He says, "We shouldn't delay. Every hour we waste, it brings us a step closer to the end of our forge and perhaps the end of Iron Glen as we know it. And if we cannot make the weapons, the machinery, using this forge, the whole land of Pleiadian will become more vulnerable."
I have a question for Abnar. Sorry, I forgot what his name was.
Asnar.
His name is Asnard.
Asnard. In your history tomes of history, have there ever been references to dragons or fire creatures underneath this mountain? Surely you keep a great history of your people here.
Aye, we do have a history.
Have you asked the librarian?
Aye. And he says, centuries ago, when Iron Glen was founded, there were dragons aplenty living in here, and elementals, and other beasts of a very unsavory kind. But in the last 2,000 years, we've not heard a peep, and it seems so unlikely.
They can lie dormant for many years.
I
I think we should prepare ourselves and go slay a dragon.
Slay a dragon? Can't we just talk to it?
Asnar's like, if you want to talk to it, you're welcome to try. If I see a dragon, I know what I'm doing.
We don't have to kill it.
Not all of their kind are reasonable or open to conversation, I find.
Nevertheless, our assignment is to secure access to this mineral.
Aye.
That does not involve or require killing the dragon.
Aye. If you can get Tondite and avoid any danger at all, I'm all for it. Believe me. I have no intention of sending you into a death trap.
Maybe we could convince the dragon to work with you. Could you use the dragon's breath to run your forge?
A dragon's breath? No. Well, I don't think so. Come and talk with come and talk with our forge master, and we'll see what she has to say. He takes you back through to where the forge was, and overseeing some plans and looking as a sort of workplace, like a building site for person, is this female dwarf who has like a charcoal pencil tucked behind her ear, and you hear Asnar call out and to Dentrum, and she whips around. He beckons her over, and She comes over and says, you're the ones that are going to get the Tondite for us, are you?
That is the plan.
Aye.
Aye, good. Not a moment too soon. We need it. Fast.
How much do you need?
As much as you can give me. This machine stops for nobody.
How much longer does the machine have?
It's hard to say. Tondite does last a long time. It's efficient as a fuel. But I'd say no more than 8 months.
Oh, so we have 8 months.
We have a feeling there might be a dragon awakened underneath the mountain. Would you be able to run your forge on a dragon's breath?
A dragon's breath? No, we need Tondite. Are you saying, what's wrong with getting Tondite?
Why not both?
A dragon's not going to work for no dwarves anyway. But even if there was a dragon, which there isn't, by the way, I need Tondite to work this forge. You're trying to put me out of work.
Atlas, to be fair, we are perhaps jumping ahead of ourselves a bit. We also are being very presumptuous as to if this is in fact a dragon, one, and two, if it is actually willing to work with us in any way, seeing as 2 parties have now been sent in and decimated. So we should perhaps, like, as good as diplomacy is, we probably need to be prepared for some sort of combat.
I'm just trying to keep everyone happy.
We
Everything
should not
on the
promise
table.
them a slave dragon.
Dentrim, the Forge Master, says, I'll tell you what I know. I know I sent 6 of my best miners in there, and none of them came back. And the search
Did
party
you send in any adults?
That's very funny. Thank you very much. Because, guys, miners can mean 2 different... Anyway, she says... She slaps Yorn in the head. It's like, of course I sent adults, you daft ninny.
Okay, I deserve that.
Can she reach?
Yeah, I think with a little jump, maybe should be able to at least clip his chin. I'd think. She turns to Asnar and goes, "I don't know who you've brought us, but let me know when the real heroes turn up. I got work to do." And she kind of storms off in a huff and just makes with some busy work around the forge. Asnar's like, "I'm sorry about her. I know she's got a bit of a mouth on her, but she really is a very good forge master."
He's also a fine forge master.
So
he
we
says,
need more information to decide on a plan.
What else can I tell you? I really need someone to go in and try, if you can, to recover the missing parties, if possible.
I believe if we go in there, the information will reveal itself to us.
Yes.
Yes,
Do
we're
you
going to have.
Do you have a map of the mines that we will be exploring? And do you have an example of what the Tondite looks like in its raw form, so we know what we are looking for?
I on the second for sure. He points at a cabinet that's like a glass-fronted cabinet over on the wall that's really securely locked. And behind the doors, you see that there is an orange crystal that gives off. It's not really glowing, but it certainly shimmers in the light. And he's like, "I think you'll know it when you see it anyway, if I'm totally honest." As for a map, no, we've not mapped these chambers yet. This was a relatively new route into the mountain as we'd already exhausted all the other sources of Tondite. But most of us are too afraid to go in there, to be totally honest with you.
Is it very explosive, this material? Does it react to fire or heat? Or do you... Should we be wary of using fire in there?
No, it doesn't explode. It'll melt at when great heat is applied.
So it's not a fuel, it's more of a resource that you need to craft with.
Aye.
Ah, okay, yeah.
He says, "Are you ready?"
Ready as we'll ever be. I look at the rest of my party with a great beaming smile.
Just an eternal optimist. He looks at you all and is like, he says, "Don't forget, the security of the entire land is built on Tondite. We need as much of it as we can. But we appreciate the Elven King sending some help. And if you do this, I can guarantee you'll be well rewarded."
Warren takes his lute off of his back and he like strums. He plucks a string and turns the tuner until it's in the right spot, and he's like, "We're ready."
Asnar looks down at the lute and sort of up at your face and is like, I don't know that's gonna help.
You'd be surprised.
He just
friend.
He holds his hands up and goes, "Any way you get it done. Follow me."
Yorn is gonna reach into his cloak and hand Asnar a piece of paper that says "One night only secret show after the dungeon crawl." Be at the top. It's like just a little ad, like a DIY flyer.
He looks at this.
Street teaming.
He's like, "What is this? Sorry."
You can see you will see the full range of my abilities.
Are you inviting me to a show?
Yeah, tell your friends.
Give me a persuasion roll, Yorn.
Very well. Let me see. I'm referencing my sheet here. Persuasion, and it's going to be again with all of my bonuses.
Yeah, please.
All right.
Oof.
That's not very good.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's plus 8 is what it should be. My mistake. So that
plus 8.
So 11, yes, because I did not
Woo-wee.
include the plus 5 for my charismatic plus 5 for that.
Well, that's a bit better than it would have been.
Yeah, it's pretty bad otherwise.
Asnar takes the thing that the flyer that you handed him and sort of smiles and folds it and sort of puts it into his sort of stuffs it into his into like a breast pocket, and he goes, "All right, I tell you what, it seems to mean a lot to you that I'm there. I appreciate the invite. Maybe if we can sort the Tondite first, and then myself and a few pals will come along to a show. All right?"
You won't be disappointed. He's just so so proud. It's so smug.
Aye, I'm sure. We really should get going. He takes you down through another kind of stone hallway, and at the end of this, it just stops being a stone hallway and becomes rock cavern, and it begins as a tunnel and eventually opens out into a slightly wider chamber, and there's a kind of a guard stood there, and he sees Asnar coming and stands aside, and Asnar looks to you and says, "Good luck. I hope you'll bring back good news of our friends, and of course of Tondite as well. Take care." And he turns and heads back in the other direction towards town, leaving you at the entrance to this these caves. as you enter, or as you make your way through the kind of tunnels, who's got dark vision in this party?
I was just getting to that.
I think I have.
I think there's no light here.
So Tembo, you don't, right?
And I'll grab my quarterstaff, and there's a like a little ball on top of it. I'll touch it and cast light on it.
Love it.
So then I have for 1 hour, 20-foot radius bright light and 20-foot dim light.
Perfect.
Very nice.
I've got 60 foot.
Cool. So
Yeah, me too.
I have 120 as a drow.
Nice.
I know that.
You can stand at the front then.
Very good. Sure. Happy to.
And Murph, sorry, what was your dark vision?
60 feet.
Cool. I don't think it'll be too relevant, but just good to know. Before too long, any sounds of the kind of town of Iron Glen are along behind you, and the tunnel winds away until the only real light is coming from Tembo's staff. Everyone else has got dark vision, so you can at least see a little. As you make your way through a couple of chambers, you see mining equipment, and there are more manual things like pickaxes and so on, and you can see that a great effort has been underway for some time, but it's deathly quiet and no outside light penetrating at all. After a couple of sort of large rooms that you make your way across, you come through to an open chamber, and again you can see some scaffolding has been erected all the way through this all the way through these tunnels and caves. There has been a kind of rudimentary track laid to try and transport materials in and out in a bit quicker, there's this massive operation, and you can just see in the cave walls at certain points a couple of just small fragments of orange crystal. I mean, barely chips of it, really, just what's been left behind as these crystals have been mined off the walls. You find the mangled body of a dwarf lying near the kind of next, where the kind of assumed exit to this room is, are you moving further into the mountain, the next kind of bit where it turns into a bit more of a tunnel again. You find the body of a dwarf with lying in a pool of blood at the exit to this cave.
Is it obvious how he was killed?
Bloodily. Give me a perception roll, Murph.
Okay.
Could I assist with this roll?
Sure.
Okay.
You might everybody give me perception.
Sure.
Everybody give me perception.
If you have a passive perception, does that mean you can't roll lower than it, or?
No, that's just to do with like other things trying to be stealthy towards you.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Oh, seeing some numbers.
This should hang on.
9 with advantage.
Is that an ability, Tembo? You've got advantage.
Yeah.
On,
That's only keen. That's only with smell.
Okay.
So I'm trying to.
I had 21.
How dead does he smell?
Yeah, but that's a 7, not with advantage.
So I think. So let me have a look here. So it was a 16 and 9, a 21 and 8, and 13 plus bonuses, right? So, yeah, I think I'm just going to take the average of the score, really, which is going to be around like around 15 or so. And I think what you can observe on this dwarf is a bite mark, and quite a severe one, around his torso. It's like a large puncture in his chest.
He has
Like
been
a
mangled
fang
by
puncture,
jaws.
or like a
Sorry, Murph, say again?
like a fang puncture, or
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
and was it the trauma of the bite that killed him, or does it look like he was
It looks like he bled out from that, yeah.
envenomed? Okay.
Are there any fire marks somewhere? Ashes or something?
No sign of any fire damage or anything like that. What I think you can also see in the room is that higher up above, it's quite a high cavern, and the walls have been mined quite extensively, but there are like elevated tunnels as well, that some of which appear to be naturally formed as opposed to excavated.
Mm.
Yeah.
It could come from anywhere.
Indeed.
Do I? Nope.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What was
No,
that,
no, I'm-
Tembo?
No. I was thinking about something, but that won't work.
Okay. So
Can we?
I was too.
Oh, you
I was
go.
thinking of perhaps I can cast dancing lights, and I can throw them 120 feet. I wanted to see if I could project them into those caverns to see if perhaps something reacts
Sure.
to the light. Okay,
Go
and I can let me look at the exact description here. Create up to 4 torch-sized lights within range, making them appear as torches, lanterns, glowing orbs. So I will create 4 glowing orbs, and I want to send them into 4 of these caverns and just kind of watch to see. And I'm also going to say, like, everyone, please keep it down for a moment. And so yeah, just this little quick, strum, and these 4 lights emerge or will be launched into. And they sort of like pulse in a prismatic light. I normally use these for stage shows, so they almost kind of have like a.
Okay, I like. So you send up these stage lights into the caverns, and as you look at them in turn, there appears to be no movement.
Okay. No shadows or cast or anything like
one.
that.
But in one of them, as the light kind of illuminates this tunnel, you can't see anything because, of course, the source of the light would it doesn't cast any shadows, but you do hear the sound of something. You hear the ground being a bit disturbed by something moving.
Don't say scuttling. Don't say scuttling.
Just more of a something moving, and you just hear a kind of quick, no more than a couple of seconds of noise, and then all is silent again. But you just hear the kind of the shifting of, like, almost like a scratching on dirt,
Yeah. I'll call them back to extinguish them, but as I do, I'll just point and be like, something up there.
The high cavern, by the way, is kind of above the exit. So it's almost directly above you, really, where you hear this noise come from. So this dwarf that's lying at this tunnel exit to the cavern, it's right above that. That's where the noise seemed to come from.
Oh, another quick question. Re the corpse, does he look crumpled as if he fell from a great height?
No, no.
Perhaps he was like lifted up there and then dropped after being bitten or something.
No, he no sign of trauma.
Do the bites look post-mortem?
Good question.
How would you tell, Doctor? No, I would say not.
I could
right?
roll a medicine check if you like.
Yeah, go on then. Give me a medicine.
+1.
11. The dwarf is lying in a pool of its own blood. It seems that this is the place that it died. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, but that's fine.
Zagam the Vile, welcome. Hello.
Is there a trail of blood leading anywhere? Are there any bloody footprints that we can discern?
You can see footprints heading through that.
Are they in blood?
Through that exit? No, they are just
The dwarven ones.
Dwarven footprints, yeah, in kind of boots that heading through that exit into the next area.
So there's no bloody footprints anywhere.
No. This one dwarf appears to have been killed in this position, and is lying there on the floor. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm asking lots of questions.
That's all right. Questions are good.
In what direction do you think he was traveling when he died? Was he running away, as in back to town?
Very difficult to say. Give me an investigation roll.
Some good investigating happening here.
So that's a 17 total, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is his head? Which way is his head facing?
On an investigation roll, it's difficult to say from his body position because he was disrupted. It seems, he's pointing at a bit of an unnatural angle. Really, his head's kind of pointing towards the wall and all this kind of thing. But you do note on an investigation on a 17 that his boots have quite a distinctive tread pattern. And next to him, leading somewhat close to his body, you see the same tread, and those footprints were coming out of the exit next to him, back into this chamber that you're in.
It looks like he was running away from something.
We could just walk in and see what's in there.
I'm always keen.
Yeah, we should prepare ourselves.
You're in the front.
Okay.
Weapons at the ready, please.
Yep. Yeah, everybody ready.
Towards.
Going
staff in first.
I have an arrow on my bow.
Very nice.
So everyone's prepped. Sorry, Ewan, did you have something there?
I was gonna say, no, I'll save it for now. I will save the thought for the moment. But yeah, I guess we will cautiously proceed.
You move through a tunnel, and again, Tembo's staff lights the way for you. And soon you come into another room, another naturally formed cavern, and you begin to feel as you near this room the air get a little bit warmer.
Can I smell the air?
Give me that roll. Give me that perception roll with the advantage with the nose, man. I've been dying for you to smell the air ever since you told me about that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, Yorn actually, he keeps his hood up because of daylight and stuff on his skin is not great. But being underground, he'll take it back, and he'll also take a deep breath. Like, this is a pleasantly familiar, sort of nostalgic thing
just because
to be underground again.
Am I smelling sulfur or something?
Yeah, as you enter this room, the unmistakable smell of scorch. Something being scorched and burned. Things that shouldn't burn having been burnt. The smell is everywhere. As you enter this new cavern, there is actually a small hole that penetrates the roof of this room, and a beam of natural light from the outside actually pings down and does light the room enough that you can all see fairly clearly. And there's a great in the middle of the room, there's almost like this great stone table that sits about kind of 4 feet high, and so it's it's almost the same height as a dwarf. It doesn't look like something that they would have used to like use as a table. It's a large stone kind of block in the middle of the room.
Is it clearly chiseled as a table? Like, are there any patterns on it, or is it just happens to be a natural table of rock, or has it been made?
It is clearly not just a rock. Just a rock formation. It's not just. It's something that has been constructed.
Something has made this.
But who?
Indeed. So you're in this room. You're kind of facing this big stone block. Yet again, on the other end of the room, the other side of this stone block, again it kind of becomes a narrower tunnel that looks to bend around to the left.
I approach the table. I look to see if there's anything on the table.
There doesn't appear to be anything atop this construction. However, as you near it, being that you are considerably taller than 4 feet, as you get closer, and the angle kind of shifts in terms of the way that you're seeing this, you can see something the other side of the table. And what you can see is a little bit unclear from your angle, until you realize that what you can see jutting out are 5 pairs of legs, all jutting out from the table. And as you presumably go around to see closer, you see 5 dwarves sat against this stone block, and their legs are kind of fully intact, but their torsos and heads have almost completely disappeared, and
oh no.
What you can see is that this side of the stone block is black, scorched black, and indeed, whatever the first bit of each of these dwarves you see is, maybe the lower part of their torso, it is clear that they have been damaged by fire.
The shreds, you say?
To shreds. And how about his wife? Yes, indeed.
See, before the fire part, I was going for a death by snoo.
Yeah. So that's what you find is these 5 dwarves with their, or 5 halves of dwarves, I guess I should say.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is
2.5
spongy
dwarves.
and bruised.
So, how big were the parties they were sending in?
2 parties of 6 people, of 6 dwarves each.
So this is probably the second part of. Because if the second party has find them, then the second party would be here if this is the first party.
Unless this is the first party and the second party decided to go further in and find out what the problem was.
That
Or
could
they
be
were
true
dragged
as
away
well.
entirely.
Yeah.
That's also
Yes.
possible.
However, here is the indication of fire.
Yeah.
There are 5 of
fire.
them. There is 1 survivor. Speaks of fire.
Are there any the dwarves' weapons? Are they scattered onto the floor? Or have they been taken?
Give me an investigation.
If it's all right, I'm going to assist and investigate a bit as well.
Sure.
Yep.
All right.
If we do team rolls like this, I'm just going to end up taking the average. So just to kind of put that out there. So what I would say is, if you've got minuses against investigation, you might not want to bother because you might drag down the average.
That's fair.
And ultimately, you're going to share this knowledge between you, aren't you? So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Managed to roll the exact same thing. Very good.
Oh, it is not going well.
No.
Maybe I need to help you guys with investigation.
go for it.
Eli, get in here. We need your eyes. I'm still traumatized by the torsos.
That's better.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Sweet
Elin
baby.
has seen this before.
Yeah.
So
Totally understood.
I'm a spy, guys. I can investigate.
that's a good talent. What you can see is that so it almost looks like the 5 bodies in a row. This is gonna be quite a graphic description. Content warning. It appears to have been almost a circular blast of fire. So the 2 on the ends are almost like the way that they're damaged almost banks up, almost like on a slope, if you know what I mean. Whereas, exactly the way that you're doing, Mikey. That thing. So the one in the middle just got
he's just the least.
Just exactly, and it seems to have taken kind of the brunt of it. The 2 on the ends, on either end, the appear to be holding weapons or were holding weapons in one hand. There's a hand axe laying next to one of them, and like a mace lying next to the one on the other end. The 3 in the middle don't appear to be holding any weapons at all. The other thing on an investigation, and with Keelan's 24, is that you see, when you look at the scorch mark on this block, there is like very small. Do you know, like if you're in a mine or something, it's almost like the wall glitters. Do you know what I mean? Have you seen? Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yes.
That appears to be happening on this stone block in the middle of the room. Within the bounds of this scorch mark, there appears to be a kind of a light glitter.
Almost like a granite thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then the other thing that you notice, just to kind of confirm your suspicion, is that at least some dwarves went on from here and continued. It's hard to tell how many sets of footprints there are, but leading into the tunnel, there continue to be footprints.
They never had a chance. I go and kneel by their corpses and say a little prayer.
Give me the prayer. Let's hear it.
I can speak Dwarvish, so I do it in Dwarvish.
Perfect.
And I say, may you go to your father's sacred halls in the sky.
That's nice.
May your veins always be full. And your beard long.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Didn't take the opportunity at the start of the stream, by the way, to say some unbelievable beard power on stream today. I'm not sure the stream can handle this. Budja, what's going on? You're letting the team down.
Budja, come on.
I'm sorry.
Grow a beard.
Don't say that. Now I have to give up half of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can spare it. You can spare it. Atlas, beautiful words, laying these fine dwarven fellows, I'm sure, to a comforted rest. Cool. Anything else anybody wants to do?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think.
Were we told how long ago the second party? Oh, it was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Okay, yeah, no, why?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so it was nobody. I think the implication from what Asnar was telling you is that nobody's been into this area since the second party was sent in, and that was, I would say, it was more like about 3.5 to 4 weeks ago, because they sent that message, and then you had to travel from Elisandia to Iron Glen. So it's probably about 4 weeks since.
4 weeks.
Since
okay, I was gonna do the classic thriller TV show where you touch the car or the cup of coffee and go, still warm. But, yeah,
what do you want to do? Touch the scorch mark?
Yeah, touch the scorch mark and be like, ooh. Ooh.
Weirdly.
Okay, I touched the scorch mark.
Now. The top of this stone table is cold stone, but the scorch mark, it's not warm, but there does seem to be a small change in the temperature. Just barely perceptible, really, but it just feels not as cold like a cold stone would. It's more just a kind of room temperature, you know.
Mm. I write Atlas was here in the carbon.
Perfect.
I think we probably want to move on, guys. Are we ready to go further in?
Indeed.
I think so. Seems we're getting closer.
Yeah, let's go.
The bookmarks go this way. After you, Yawn.
Onward.
Cool. As you move through,
I will.
Sorry, go ahead, Yawn.
Oh no, sorry. I was going to say I will turn. I'm assuming that Atlas is directly behind me. He seems to be kind of the closest in our marching order, so to speak.
You tell me.
Yeah. Atlas, where are you?
Atlas doesn't seem that keen, really.
I was actually thinking that potentially I should go back and help Tembo through, and then he can turn his light off so he can be more sneaky.
But
then I realised that any enemies that are in here will have dark vision, so they'll be able to see us anyway.
Indeed.
So yeah, I'm behind Yawn.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn and just kind of say I know you've always had my back, friend. I trust you will this day as well. And I'm going to put a hand on the shoulder and with a little note, a little jolly, very quick little riff, like a bardic point of bardic inspiration for Atlas.
Oh yeah, baby.
Which means let me find it here. Excuse me.
So 1d4 on a skill roll, isn't it? Or any roll you can use it
at this level. It is 1d8.
Oh, 1d8. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's going to make a difference. That's going to put some asses
Indeed.
in seats. Real nice.
I replicate the hand onto shoulder.
All right.
Oh, is it like it's like an Aragorn Legolas thing, like shaking each other's shoulders? I love that.
Yeah.
This ain't our first rodeo.
No.
So. All right. Yeah, and I'll do a quick pivot and we go on.
The next tunneled area banks around to the left, and but the air continues to get warmer, and as you go on, you then, off in the distance, see a warm glow as you continue on.
All right.
And as you... The tunnel, the pathway also seems to be kind of going downwards as well. It's dipping further down as well as going on. Which has been somewhat the case all the way through this, but is now more pronounced. And you see this warm glow as you reach the bottom of this, almost like a ramp, really, a naturally formed ramp. And as you come around the corner, you see the biggest cavern that you've encountered yet. And on the walls, you see what is unmistakably Tondite. These huge, beautiful orange crystals. And some are just standalone structures almost. You know, they're kind of 10 feet tall, just these huge things, formations of crystal on the floor. They're on the walls. There's not... it's not like covering it, but there is a fair bit of it. The ground has been almost like paved in a lot of it, and also through this room, and what is seems to be generating the heat that you begin to feel is almost like a river running through the room of like a bubbling orange liquid. There you go. That's what it looks like.
Oh wow.
So you enter from the southwest of this map, and you've located some Tondite, quite a bit of it.
I first want to look around to see if I see any other creature
or any dead
standing
dwarves
or hanging somewhere.
Give me a perception. Again, everyone, we can do a group perception if you want. Again, I'll take the average of the team roll if you want to. But
very good.
21.
Well, you might just want to leave it there because Tembo's rolled a 21.
Oh yeah, very good.
Oh shoot.
It's fine. We've got a couple of 21s and a 3.
Sorry.
Although the 2 natural ones.
And a natural 1. Real nice.
I'm just gonna abstain from rolling.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good overall here.
It's fine. What you can see is that, again, like the cavern previously, where that first dwarf was found, and the same as the last one as well, there are higher tunnels that are naturally formed and carved into the walls. The room is very high, and it's perhaps like 100 meters high, so it's a big room. And there are tunnels carved in, but you cannot see any anything, creatures, any dwarves or anything?
Do I see one of the tunnels glittering like the stone table in the last room?
That glitter effect seems to be sort of prevalent throughout this room.
The danger must be here, else the dwarves would have taken this Tondite and made off with it.
Yeah, we should keep an eye.
Something is making it hot enough to melt.
Yeah, very hot here.
I don't think any elemental could be generating this amount of heat. But I could be wrong.
Maybe it's just Earth that's warming things up. I'm not sure.
Possibly. Are there any other passageways in and out of here that are accessible for us?
No, this appears to be a dead end in terms of the tunneling. In case it hasn't been clear, the tracks and the scaffolding, all the mining, went as far as where you found the first dwarf. Everything after that, the tunnels themselves have been kind of naturally occurring, and and minimal excavation really, just to kind of get through existing routes as opposed to create them out of whole cloth. The only other sign in this room of, I guess, the evidence of intelligent life is the fact that some of the floor is paved.
It seems weird that something has created this. I feel that if the dwarves had created this, they would have told us.
I
This
agree.
does not look like the work of dwarves.
How
Maybe
old is the... Go ahead, Budgie. I'm sorry.
Oh, maybe they did pave the floor, but it is changed afterwards.
Yeah, I was curious about the paving. How old does that look? Like, does it look... I mean, it's obviously newer than the cavern, but
Give me
is it like
investigate.
cracked and weathered, or...
Oh no, give me perception.
Okay. Perception. Let's see. It's gonna be high.
Oof.
Oh,
God, that +9's doing a lot for you, hey? But that was a nat
it
1,
sure
right?
is, but not on a 1. That sucks.
Difficult to say. It's
Okay.
it certainly hasn't been put down in the last month for that's for sure. But difficult to know how to age these stones.
Right. Are there any places nearby that would suggest that some of this has been like mined and excavated?
No signs of mining in this room. The only other thing of note is that as you can kind of see on the map, actually, in the northeast, as you get towards where the wall is, the ground itself is kind of a bit cracked, and you can see hints of this orange liquid kind of sitting there in the ground itself.
Does the orange liquid look the same as the orange of the Tondite?
Yes, very similar.
How hot is this liquid? Like, is it literally like molten?
You can feel the heat from it from where you stand.
Okay.
It's not burning you at that distance, but you can definitely feel a kind of residual heat coming off it from where you are.
All right.
How many feet are we from the liquid?
If you're all gathered somewhat in the middle of this pathway, you're in the middle of that, and there's probably maybe 20 feet either side of you as a group. That walkway, if you like, is maybe what would it be, like 70 feet wide.
Oh, wow, okay.
Can I walk towards one side of the pathway, the walkway? Take my decanter of endless water, hold it above the boiling liquid, and say fountain, because then it produces 5 gallons of water.
So
pour the water over on the liquid.
So you're pouring water into this, and with the intention of creating a fountain.
No. The decanter works by calling fountain. The decanter produces 5 gallons of water.
Oh, got it.
So
Okay. Oh, sorry, I understand. So you pour water into this substance. Doesn't even touch it. It evaporates before it hits it. Turns to steam.
Ow. Sure, it's hot.
Very hot, so let's be careful there. Are there any scorch mark or other fire damage in this room?
The walls themselves are darker than you've seen. But there doesn't appear to be any kind of recent fire damage or anything like that. There's no signs of any kind of struggle or whatnot.
Are there any loose pieces of the Tondite, like that could just, like, say, like you could easily walk over and pick up a stone without having to like chip it out of the earth?
Yeah, there's the formation that's kind of in the middle of the room, on the ground, beneath those rocks. There's some kind of hand-sized pieces of Tondite.
Okay. I'm, as Yorn kind of speaking to the groups, like, I'm wondering if the groups that came here tried to take any, and that was what beckoned whatever killed them.
Indeed, that seems to be the best way to force a reaction.
Are you volunteer yourself to try?
Well, I have my ways, and I'm going to. I have a cantrip called Mage Hand.
Yep.
I'm going to try to reach with one, and just like, if there is a piece I can see within range, I should be able to, like, within 30 feet. I should be able to just like lift it and try to draw it back toward me.
So you'd probably have to. Sorry, go ahead.
While he's doing that, I'll cast 8 on 2nd level, and that means I can pick 3 creatures within range. And their hit point maximum and current hit points increased by 5.
Okay. So you're giving some temporary HP to who?
To Atlas, Merv, and Gillen.
Cool.
Oh, very
nice. So Yorn, you'll probably have to walk forward somewhat, probably to like where the edge of it, where it kind of opens out into this wider section. That's probably then 30 feet from the crystals that are kind of scattered on the ground. So and just to clarify, I've understood, you want to cast Mage Hand and get the Mage Hand to pick up one of these crystals and bring it to you.
Yes, yeah, basically just I want to disturb one piece, kind of lift it up and draw it toward us. And yeah, before I do that, I will kind of turn to the group and just sort of like do like a nod and like, oh, well, here goes nothing, sort of, you know. So yes, that's the intention. Like, I want to disturb the pile that we can.
As your Mage Hand picks up the crystal from the floor, you hear a booming voice come from one of the caverns above, and it just says,
okay.
Halt. And I think we should just take a little break to go and grab a water and whatever else for a couple of minutes. So everyone take 5. I'm going to put this on BRB. I'm going to go grab some water as well, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes.
Ooh. All right.
See you in a sec. As they grow closer, you see that this group of figures are a group of suspiciously similar looking humans that are all dressed in either a red or a green jumper. They are all white, and you can barely tell the difference. When you look closely, you can see that these are different people from one another, but at a glance, you can barely tell the difference from one to the next. All the men are in good gym shape. They've got short, neatly cut brown hair. A couple of them have got very faint stubble, but definitely no facial hair. All the women are platinum blonde, with blonde down to roughly their shoulders. And again, very tidy shape. And they just have a sort of disarmingly... It would be easy to think that they looked quite nice and innocent, but actually what you see is quite sinister as they approach. And this horde, and I'm saying there are 30 of these guys approach. You hear a voice in just a very nondescript accent that could be really from anywhere say, "There they are! Get them!" Okay, I am back. Hello, folks. Let's take the opportunity. We'll jump back into the game in just a couple of minutes. And let me just catch up on chat and say a few hellos. Thanks to everybody who's been hanging out and and following the game. Some new faces. Thanks very much, Cryo75 for the follow. Deathyboy7494 as well. Really nice to have you with us. I saw a couple of other new faces. Zagam the Vile, welcome. Is scuttling better or worse than chittering? You tell me. Both terrifying noises. But welcome to Cocker's Firefly as well. Ginge, Tinky Cat as well. Sunborn 07. Thank you all for lurking. Thank you for understanding that I can't break away from the game to... I don't want to break the immersion, you know, by talking to chat as well. Cryo, how have you found us today? You just lurking in the... Are you just scouring the D&D category, or how else have you come across us today? Really nice to have you with us. This is a kind of a new venture for this channel. The first of what I intend to be a monthly one-shot adventure. So... hope everyone's really enjoying it. I'm having a great time. Always a good time with this gang as they try to uncover this mystery, which appears like it's about to reveal itself somewhat. Looking through the D&D category, yeah, standard. Well, welcome. Really good to have you with us. Always fun to watch like games played out in real time on Twitch, I think. There's a couple of other really good really good channels that I enjoy watching. Besides the obvious. Oh, Magic Pouch. Sorry, I kind of said hello to you as you came in because I got your sound effect. But good to see you as well, man. But yeah, it's all going well. I'm going to rejoin the call with our players, and then we'll press on, I think. So let's say hello again to our team. That's the wrong screen. That's where I'm after. Some of which are here. Who's here? Phil, you're here.
Hello,
I'm here.
Present. Hello.
Yarrow's here. Everyone's here, really, aren't they? There comes Mikey. Look. Good.
The gang's all here.
Everyone feeling refreshed, hydrated, and locked and loaded.
Yes.
Good. We've got everybody. Cool. Welcome back. Thanks everybody for that brief break. But I know we're dying to jump back into the narrative as you just heard this booming voice cry out, "Halt!" The next thing that you perceive is the sound in one of the caverns above you. And it's quite a slow-moving sound. It's similar to what you heard briefly in a couple of caverns ago. And it's like a dragging sound of something shifting across kind of gravelly ground, you know. And a couple of seconds later, you look up and can see this high cavern entrance, maybe like 40 meters above you, and a shadow is cast on the wall, and then the unmistakable shape of a dragon emerges. Occam's razor. Atlas, you knew it from the start.
Yep.
If it looks like a dragon and scorches things like a dragon.
Now
we got dungeons, we got dragons, we got it all, folks.
Could I, or maybe someone, roll a sort of like a history or an insight check? Do we know what type of dragon it is? Or does that not matter?
Give me a
Should be pretty clear on its color, I would imagine, unless it's too far away for us to see.
You can see
dark.
from just this distance that it's a kind of coppery brown color.
Okay. Okay.
This dragon shifts itself to kind of the precipice of this high cavern. And as it does so, as you see it emerge, its breathing is quite laboured. It's sort of, as it's dragging itself along, it's not just like walking through this cavern. There's room for it to do so, but it's kind of dragging itself along, and it feels a bit laboured, and you know, it kind of, with an effort, pulls itself to the edge and looks down at you from this high cavern, and you see it kind of look with. It kind of squints its eyes at you and goes, "You are no dwarves."
Upon seeing it and hearing it kind of say halt to us, if the mage hand is like kind of coming like this, and Yorn like goes like, and the mage hand just like drops immediately and dissipates. It's just like, yep, okay.
Like Abu in Aladdin, like putting the gem back on the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I got
Just
it.
like,
I got it. I didn't. This. Nah, I wasn't doing anything with this. That's just. So yeah, he says.
I'm joking.
He says,
I'm joking.
Sorry, Tembo, go ahead.
Are you okay? Are you okay? You seem wounded.
It pauses at that question and is like, "You speak with concern for me?"
Yeah, because you look wounded. I maybe we can help you.
Huh. Help me? I think not. He drags himself towards this edge and leaps down and lands in the large open space in the kind of northeast section of this map of this area. And what becomes apparent as he lands, and the whole room shakes, and you see little rocks fall from the ceiling as they become loosened, that he jumped but did not fly or float down. And the reason for that is apparent, and you see that his left wing has been torn to shreds. There's barely anything left. There's more just like almost like the frame of a wing on his left side. As you look at him, you can see just like various scars and what have you, and a couple of his scales are missing and things like that.
Yeah.
He looks. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you finish your description and then I want to go from there.
I was just going to say that he looks at Tembo and says, I fear that helping me will be beyond your skill, Master Loxodon.
What did this to you?
Centuries of living.
Yeah. Yorn regards this dragon the way you would watching a tornado rip across the plains with terror and awe, but fascination. He's never seen a dragon in person before, but heard many, many tales, so he is captivated and fearful, but he will say, great beast.
Yes.
How are you called?
Are you asking my name?
If you would, and I'm being as charming as I can be to a dragon. I'm saying, if you would grace us with that knowledge.
I'll answer that in a second, but actually, you touched on something that I was going to ask the group. Who feels that their character has seen a dragon before?
Yeah, I have read many, many tales, and so like this is seeing a unicorn, like in Philip seeing a unicorn, not Yorn. He probably has seen unicorns, but yeah, this is a magnificent thing.
Murph has heard stories, but would never have seen one.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen one.
No, never seen one.
Yeah. I was just interested to know if you felt you had. I have no strong feeling on it either way. So yeah, this is a beast that obviously all of you are aware of the existence of these things and probably had an idea of what they look like from drawings and whatnot. But the first time you face to face,
could I ask again? You said it's like a coppery brown type of dragon, but like, is it like a chromatic dragon or a metallic dragon?
No, it's kind of scaly and just has a kind of coppery hue to its scales. That's all.
So it's like it's not within the sort of binds of what the D&D dragons are. It's of its own thing.
I wouldn't assume it is. That's for sure.
Yeah, we do have to also make sure that we're being aware of meta knowledge that may be in or outside of our characters' experience versus
I don't think it'll
knowing.
help you. It's a homebrew world. There are
probably
homebrew
not.
things.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But that is one of those things where I caught myself when I was like, "Oh, we'll know by its color if it's good or bad." It's like that's Philip knowing that.
I would make no assumptions of that nature.
Yeah, fair.
So anyway, so Yorn had asked his name. He kind of gives a half grin and says, "I am Tondu. Tondu Earthborn."
Have I heard this name before?
In
my studies and legends.
Give me history.
Okay. I'm excited at the prospect that I have.
Oh god.
And a little terrified. I'm not about to become a dragon cultist. I'm just like I'm nerding out a little bit about this.
What a move for this character it would be.
Yeah, for real. Kneel before my new god.
16?
All right, 16.
on a 16, I think you recall a rumor from long ago of dragons of this colour occasionally being seen emerging from the mountains of Caprice.
Okay.
The name itself doesn't register, but that's probably about as good as it gets.
Okay.
So yeah, he says that his name is Tondu, and he asks, and who, may I say, am I addressing?
I am privileged to be in your presence, mighty Earthborn. I am Yorn Eirik of the Underdark, and these are my traveling companions. We are here to perhaps strike an accord on behalf of the dwarves.
He snorts and with an effort kind of shifts his position, and you hear this almost like a creaking within him as he moves. He says, I have heard the so-called negotiating of dwarves enough. He looks across at you and the group of you and says, you make a strange group. He looks at Keelan and says, I have not heard that elves would come and treat on behalf of dwarves unless very much is changed in the world above ground.
We live harmoniously in this world and we help each other. So that's why I'm here.
And why are you here and not another band of dwarves?
They say they cannot spare more dwarves.
Huh.
They have hired us.
Well, you see how they view their own people as a resource, no different to the way they view the mineral around you. And they must risk your lives.
What's so special about that mineral?
They call it after you. Tondite.
Yes, the mineral is named Tondite. After my forefathers, actually. He turns to Keelan, who asked what's so special about it. He says, well, why is it special to me, or why is it special to them?
To you, we know why it's special for them.
Yeah, they use it to power their entire civilization in the mountain.
He briefly
It's a prized
kind
resource.
of, you see his eyes kind of flash with anger, and he kind of cuts you off and goes, I know well what they use it for.
I will kind of shrink. Just like, I'm like, okay, got it.
He looks back at Tembo and says, the first thing you did when you saw me was to inquire as to my well-being.
Yes,
Why?
because you look hurt, and I heal people that are hurt.
Do you not fear me?
Why should I fear you?
Huh.
You're just someone who needs help.
As to why you should fear me, did you not pass the bodies on your way in?
Did you do that?
Of course.
Yes, we passed them.
What happened to the other 6?
Tondu, you see him like running his tongue around the inside of his mouth, and then he, with a claw, kind of uses his claw as a toothpick, and you just see like a tibia fall on the ground in front of him.
He flicks it,
and he just goes. They made a sufficient meal.
That can't taste good. I'm sure we can find you some much better tasting food.
Well, I won't lie. Shitting out their axes hasn't been very comfortable. He says,
I feel you, buddy. I've eaten at some rough dive bars.
He goes, so, in any case, you asked why the Tondite is special to me, and I reveal this only because your trunk-laden friend has enamored me to you somewhat with his concern for my well-being. The Tondite and I are bound up with one another. The Tondite is my life force, and has been the life force of me and my forefathers before me for centuries. And that is why I cannot allow these dwarves, or, and he looks at all of you from side to side, any other, to remove the Tondite from this place. If the Tondite is mined, you will take with it my very life.
Do you know of any other way to bring heat to the dwarves?
To bring heat?
So that they still can forge what they forge.
To bring heat, certainly.
Without killing.
They can use another material.
Can I get a clarification quickly? Sorry.
Sure.
So the Tondite, are they using it like you would iron? So are they making like stuff out of the Tondite?
It's
Because
more
if
like...
they're using it...
Sorry, go ahead.
If they're using it as like because we said earlier on, it fuels their forge, but it doesn't give out heat; it just melts. Well, so like a forge heats up a metal or a substance to then forge it into something else. Is this the material or is it the fuel?
It is the fuel. They don't make weapons out of Tondite. They require Tondite in order to get enough power to work the machines, basically.
Okay, so it's like a version of electricity.
That's probably a bit closer to it, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a fuel rod.
It's fuel. It gives it enables them to okay, I get it now.
Yeah, that's probably a bit closer to it. Yeah,
it's a bit like uranium then.
yeah, there you go. A nuclear fuel.
Like powering a dwarven power plant.
Yeah, that probably is about as close as it. Yeah, I'd say that's probably it. He says
that makes sense because it's his life force, and his life force has energy in it, so that makes sense in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says The rooms you have passed through, the tunnels and the caverns, for hundreds of years, they shimmered and were full of Tondite. And as the dwarves excavated more and more and more, I have become weaker. He says, 800 years ago, I left the mountains to go in seek of a mate that my kind may continue. I was gone for 12 years. When I returned, I found that so much had been taken that when I returned I could barely stand. And since that day, I have not left the mountains, and I swore that never again would I allow any to remove Tondite from this place.
Do you have like a back door into your lair?
Why do you ask?
Wondering how you got in here.
I have many ways in and out. He looks up at the cavern, the high caverns all around you, and says, there are ways through these mountains known only to me.
Would you like to give us a tour of your home? We do a spin-off called D&D Cribs.
He says,
"What up, Nat Nation? This is my cavern."
he says, I would not. He,
if you...
Sorry, go ahead.
If you die, the Tondite dies as well. And if the Tondite is taken all, you die as well.
The Tondite in this cavern is all that remains. I have no doubt it would power their forge for perhaps 300 years. But they would still, at the end of that time, would still need to find some new source.
Do you know of a new source, another material?
I'm afraid my knowledge of the world does not extend as far as this.
Did you manage to find a mate?
That was it. That was something I was curious about as well. Yeah. Did you manage to find? Did you have any? Have you sired children?
He bows his head low and, in almost a whisper, is like, "No, I could not find any of my kind."
It's a lonely existence.
He sits up on his... he kind of raises himself up somewhat, and you can see his enormous, chest. He sort of brings himself to something more like a standing position. He says, "In dragon terms, I near the end of my time, no matter what. I realize that you have been sent to destroy me, and," he looks down at his own body, "I realize also that in combat, it is very likely that you will defeat me. Nevertheless, I swore my oath, and I will defend this place to my last breath.
How would you like to die?
Was that
Like,
a threat?
No, it's more of a question. Would you like to live out your life here, or do you have to have like an honorable death? Like some people see a death in battle as a glorious death, and some see death as an old age person as not cool. But some people like that. What's your sort of opinion on that? For someone who's lived such a long time.
Until 900 years ago, 800 years ago, I would simply not have cared one way or the other. It is not for me to choose, not for us to choose our path, and certainly not for us to choose the way that we exit this world any more than it is ours to choose the way we enter it. But to know that my death would result in the loss of this substance from the world, and that it would merely be used to power the war machine of dwarves, and perhaps be used even in anger against my own kind, fills me with a rage. And as he speaks, you see like his nostrils flare. And when I say flare, they flare fire. Like little bits of fire come out of his nostrils as he gets a bit het up about all this. And he says, So, if I am to die defending my keep and defending my life, then so be it. I ask only one thing. And he looks at Atlas and says, if we are to engage in deadly combat, may we bow first.
It's a trap.
I don't think technically with my oath I can just kill you for fun. Or not for fun, for the use of just to steal all of your life source. So it would have to be an agreed battle anyway. How many years do you think you've got left, just in general?
Barely any. Maybe no more than 3,000 to 4,000 years.
Oh, okay.
Barely any.
Oh, God.
That's tough, man. You gotta get him in a dragon retirement home.
You know, it'll fly by. You say it sounds like a long time, but it'll just the years all end up merging into one. Honestly.
Okay. So you don't want me to bring Dignitas?
It'll fly by, not without me.
While these two are hashing out the details of their duel or whatever, I want to try to position myself near as I can to like a pretty big crystal chunk.
Okay. I mean, there's one up on this rock in the middle of the room, which is probably the one that you're most easily accessible to.
If I think I can get there without drawing attention.
You want me to keep talking to the dragon? We're hashing out our deal here. So, what are your thoughts on gold?
My thoughts on gold?
Yes. Do you have any other treasures in this cave? Just for after I've killed you, of course. Where should I be looking for the booty? I've heard the dragons, they just got that booty.
He looks confused. He says, the treasure in this cavern is all about you. Do not the dwarves use it to generate wealth by one means or another?
Not about the booty.
Yeah, but I'm not really interested in, forgers. I'm more interested in do you have any other valuables or keepsakes, big diamonds that you've found in the caves, or?
He looks to
Uh,
Tembo and says, "Your friend doesn't speak as elegantly as you."
Yes. Could we have a moment, if you please?
By all means.
All right. None of this sits well with Yorn at all, but I also am not entirely sure what our course of action is here.
I'm just distracting the dragon whilst Murph
Right.
gets into position. So I'm just sort of just chatting, trying to keep his attention.
Are we resolute on fighting the dragon? The other option to me is present to the dwarves the fact that its life is bound to these stones. And but from there I'm really not sure what you do because
I'm in agreement with you. I don't think my oath would let me kill this dragon.
Yeah.
Just to gain its resources.
Yeah, that feels very wrong to Yorn.
It would have to be as I said before, doing it a service, and if it wanted to die in battle. But it's already said that it doesn't want to do that, and he'd just be happy just dying on his own, basically. But yeah, so I'm not interested in battle at the moment. Although I have to defend my friends, so I do have an oath to any of you. So if one of you
get on a technicality,
yeah, if for some reason one of you accidentally shot the dragon in the face, I would have to defend your stupidity.
Yeah.
So Murph can't really communicate this now because of what he's doing, but I think he would remind you that we also have an oath to those who hired us. We have a job to do, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless we have another plan to make sure the dwarves has their mineral, we have to kill the dragon.
But it only has 300 years of use left. To be honest,
after that they would need another one.
Yeah, the dwarves should really be thinking of diversifying now. I wouldn't invest in this portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they only have 8 months left, so I don't know if 8 months is enough to make sure they can keep on going.
That sounds like a dwarf problem.
Keeps the pressure on.
Yeah.
I think they would have to go old school.
My thought is take this. My thought is take this to the dwarves. Take this to the Elven King, who we are in service of, to perhaps figure out some sort of arrangement. Because surely there are other sources of energy that they could use to sustain themselves. I mean, there's even beyond magical means, there's ways to do what they're trying to do without the needless exploitation of this living thing.
I'm in agreement that we go back and we chat to the dwarves.
Yeah, and that may end up fighting them, but I don't know. It does not. I cannot square the circle of killing this kind of sad old dragon for its crystals.
And I would like to query our contract. Is our contract with the Dwarven King, or is it with the Elven King? But the Dwarven King has asked the Elven King for help.
Yeah, the latter. So the Elven King instructed you to go and help the dwarves, and said basically they are an important trading relation. I need you to help them with whatever it is, because I trust this group to do it.
If he trusts us to that extent, I would trust that he also would trust our judgment on.
I don't think the Elven King would like us to kill a dragon.
But it's your uncle.
You're
Yeah,
great,
it's true. It is your
great
uncle.
twice
Oh,
removed
yeah.
on my
Atlas,
mother's
let's use
side.
that nepotism.
And Chode, we've already discussed that, and the dwarves don't think it's a go-ahead.
Mm.
But I think maybe we go back and we go, you know what? You got 8 months. I'm sure the dwarves are smart enough, and they can work together with the dragon.
Yeah.
Get him some like nice lamb, like some salt marsh lamb or something like that. You know, there's no slavery involved in this. I'm sure we could hash out a deal. They're smart, these dwarves. If they learned how to make a forge using this Tondite, then I'm sure they should be able to work out how to make a forge with dragon.
That's a good angle. Like, I feel like we could appeal to their ingenuity and maybe sway a bit. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're heading back to the dwarves. Is there anything you want to say to
could
Tondu first?
Can I speak to the dragon first quickly?
Sure.
And say, if there were a way, a reciprocal way of you and the dwarves working together, could you ever see yourselves working together? What would you require from them? Maybe some nice lamb or a bit of beef?
Lamb or beef? To be
Maybe
a,
pork?
Or elephant?
to become a
Sorry,
slave.
what?
He says to become a slave to the dwarves. You offer me
no.
meat.
There's no slavery. It is a transactional affair. You can request anything you like. I'm sure you would like the company.
For centuries, dwarves have done nothing but end the lives of my kind.
So
And
we
take
can let them
dwarves-
stop.
the resource.
Those dwarves are dead. These are new dwarves now.
Well then,
We are.
And I don't think they knew the significance of it. I think if we go back, we can change hearts and minds.
He bends down towards you and kind of shifts towards you a little, to the point, and he brings his nose right up to yours and goes, "Then go and pray you can change them." Yeah, he says, "Return to me if you are successful."
Do we know what he sort of wants in reciprocation? Because I have a feeling we have to bring something to the dwarves. What is it you want, dragon? Or is it...
He, give me a persuasion.
We could go look for a hot dragon babe?
Give me a persuasion roll.
Ooh. Come on, baby.
12.
Ouch.
He says,
Wait.
"Are you suggesting that the dwarves would go and seek a mate on my behalf?"
Well, maybe not the dwarves. They're the shut-in sort of types. But we're adventurers, you see. And we do love a quest.
We are.
And
We would like to broker a mutual peace
Hmm.
to our charge that hired us in a way that does not deplete your Tondite or destroy your life. That is our objective.
in the end
In
of the
this
day, we are all creatures of this land. And
We are.
peace is the best option.
I have not always found that to be the case, but your proposition does intrigue. It has always been my dream to sire an heir. I will provisionally agree to speak with the dwarves if they are willing.
We will do everything in our power.
Then go well. He looks to Tembo before you leave and says, I thank you for your words of concern.
My pleasure.
With a great effort, he rises up and sort of bends his knees and leaps into the cavern above again, and you hear him kind of breathe heavily as he lands in there and moves further down inside the cavern. So if I've understood correctly, you guys are heading back to Dwarf Town, right?
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And as we turn and walk away, I say to Yorn, I'm sure we could even get them to build him a ramp so he doesn't have to jump anymore.
I would I would hope so. And as we're walking back, the mood is sort of lightened a little bit, and I was just like,
Let's get this
surely
whole
there is
place up to
something.
ADA
that-
spec. Come on.
Yeah, they're going to be pissed. They're definitely not going to be happy, but
Oh,
I-
dwarves! They're unhappy all the time anyway.
exactly.
They should fucking lighten up.
Timbo, clutch, great work.
Yeah, but
Sorry, go ahead.
he looked in pain.
Mhm.
He did. No, and he was
Yeah.
yes.
Could I ask Murph? Did you see anything interesting in the crystal? Because I saw Murph sneak across the crystal.
Oh yeah, is Murph still
Then-
waiting to ambush him?
No, if we've
Are we good?
moved on, then I've moved along with you. You know, my whole idea was if it came to a fight, then if his life force is tied to the crystals, then maybe smash a big crystal and see what that
Big
does.
crystal.
Oh,
Damn, Murph, that's cold.
that is cold-blooded.
I say, oh yeah, smart.
No, what's
We'll keep
cold-blooded
that-
is a dragon.
Hey!
Hey.
Yeah.
As you're making your way back through the caverns, as you pass through the previous room that had the scorch marks and the 5 dwarves laid against the stone block, where it was previously glimmering, that glimmer I said about, it feels like it looks a bit different than when you passed through not an hour ago. Like where it was glimmering, the little the little pieces that were giving off that shimmer are now almost jutting out of the stone.
Is it like Tondite regrowing?
It does look like very minuscule Tondite crystal.
Huh.
So when he burns dwarves, it creates Tondite.
Or do you think it's when he heats the rock, it grows out? Because that's where the blast was.
Yeah, maybe he can make the Tondite with his breath.
Yeah, maybe. That's interesting. Can
make
we
enough to
chip
kill
off a
himself.
piece of this to take with us?
Yeah, by all means.
Like
Ready
knock
to
a piece
run.
off the edge of the table that
Yeah.
has some of the growing crystals to literally show. Okay, yeah, I want to do that. I'll take out a dagger and kind of try to pry a decent enough little triangle of it loose. Okay,
Back to Iron Glen.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. When you return to Iron Glen, the rest of the journey back goes without incident. And as you arrive back in the town, I assume you're looking for Aznar, who gave you this job. You're directed to. You're told that he is in council at the moment with what's their name? With Dentrum, the Forge Master, and also Kalanoin the Third, who is the king of the Dwarf Realm. And you're told that he's in council, and you're directed, but the guards were instructed to direct you there upon your return. So you
before we go into the room, can we have a quick group huddle?
Yes, please.
I think they knew about the dragon. I think they lied to us. What are your feelings?
I think the dragon is not completely telling the truth either, so I think we have to make a decision on the information we have, with knowing that we don't have all the information.
Ooh, I think I have something that might help us.
And what sort of a thing is that?
Well, one of my... I know it's not a all-encompassing spell, but as a paladin of this level with my charisma, I do have the ability to cast Zone of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the king...
Wonderful.
The king and Asnar, sorry.
Obviously a very memorable name.
Asnard.
Asnard, they can choose to just not answer us. But I think if we go in with a plan of, if they don't answer me, that is an aggression on us.
Oh, I might help with that, not answering.
You still have Bardic Inspiration as well, sir.
I do.
I think that's a good plan, so we then at least know the truth about the dwarves.
Yeah. I could understand the dwarves' motivation to lie and be not quite upfront with the truth. I don't really see why Tondu would lie to us as much.
I also can't see us casting the spell on the dragon being worth it, because...
And succeeding also.
Yeah, because
right, yeah.
I think that would just piss him off. Whereas if it's a bunch of dwarves, we can sort of take them on if required. You know,
right.
The balance is more balanced in that aspect.
Yeah.
So I think if the group is happy, we should question them if they knew about it.
Yes, I think as long as diplomacy is upheld, we could do this for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you enter this chamber, which appears to be sort of like a bit of a war room, you know, where kind of strategy planning is done, and there's a kind of big table in the middle, and you just see Asnar and Dentrum, who you met earlier. The Smith Forge stood around, and a new person who you've not met before is Kalanoin the Third, who is apparent from his regal dress and wears a crown of iron atop his head. And as you enter the room, Asnar spots you walking in and says, thank goodness. What have you been able to find?
Before we say anything, we all greet the king in a respectful way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Kalanoin kind of goes, sort of gives a grim smile and says, "We may dispense with the pleasantries. I thank you for honouring this chamber, but pressing business must be attended to."
We didn't find anything.
Nothing? What do you mean? Did you find our mining parties?
The remains of a few.
All three of their heads sort of drop, and Asnar's like, "I feared as much."
I gave the ones that we found a prayer and sanctified their bodies for you.
What happened to them?
Would you like to know?
Let's try to think of a fucking lie. Oh my god. Hey, tell us, please.
Well, to shreds. There wasn't much left, unfortunately, but it looked as if they were being burnt by a fireball.
Burnt? Oh.
Could we all what? Can we do like a insight? Is it to see if we can tell if he's lying
Give me an insight.
or being deceptive? Does anyone have a good insight bonus?
I have +6 to insight.
I do.
Yeah.
As well.
Do you two want to like roll it and then sort of?
I'm gonna take a leaf out of Fuero's book here and be like, don't talk to me about fucking bonuses. You role play between you. You figure out who's gonna try and insight check.
I glance at Yawn and Murph because I know that they are very good at detecting liars.
Yeah, you just feel it in your gut.
I've played poker with these guys, and they always clean fucking house.
Always win,
the bastards. So
and I have my luck stone, and I have proficiencies with this, so it's gonna be quite high. So
let's have it. Or it's a nat 20.
Oh, wait, what? How is it a -3? Oh, that's a jack roll.
Minus.
I hit the minus. That was wrong. I'm
yeah. Reroll.
Okay. Apologies for that. Okay, let's try again.
Yeah, we'll take that one.
Okay.
22.
Okay.
This dice roll sucks, by the way. I think I've been low single digits on every roll.
Asnar, smile on you this day.
Asnar's shock at this appears to be genuine.
And the king's? Or is he straight-faced? Royalty probably is.
Asnar and Dentrum, they look quite harrowed by it. Kalanoin, very poker-faced, just kind of giving nothing away really. He sort of bows his head solemnly, and that's about as much as it gets.
My king, surely you would have known, or your family would have known. Would know something.
He says, there are ancient rumors in centuries past of dragons in these mountains. Is it possible that's what happened to our men?
The name of your material.
Yes.
What is its etymology?
He goes, do you know, that's a good question. A king should know that. It's been mined in these caverns for so long, for generations. I have never really thought about its origin.
I'm going to, Atlas, I'm going to kind of catch your eye and kind of give you a look that says, like, do we just be upfront about this?
I nod.
And, like, kind of gesturing to my satchel where I have the piece of the table with the stone.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to get your mute instrument out and give them a song about the dragon.
I mean, I could. But no, I was going to basically just say, like, more or less, am I saying, like, do we say, like, hey, it's called this because this is the dragon that lives in the cavern that you're leeching its life force, and, like, just basically be completely upfront about what's happening here and see how they react.
Yeah. I look at Yawn and I say, the bard is the best at regaling history. And I sort of
now this is a story all about
now Tondite
these
came
caves
about.
got flipped and upside down.
Yeah. All those pesky
You were chilling
dwarves.
out, Maxon, and mining all cool, and then
So,
yeah.
so Jorn, what are you telling the assembled dwarven council?
Okay, yeah, I will. I'll step forward. I'm gonna try my best to do this in character. Yeah, with a hand on the satchel, I'll kind of step forward and say, so you know, it is called Tondite because it is named after Tondu Earthborn, a mighty dragon living in the halls below your keep. The resource, and I'll gesture around, this stone that you have used, is directly tied to this incredible creature's life. With the years of its use, you are leeching and killing this thing. It is defending itself. Don't you understand? It is defending itself from your aggressions. It is on a primal basis. It is protecting its own life, which is within the capacity and allowance of any living thing. Would you agree?
Dentrum, the forge master, just starts bristling as you're halfway through this spiel, and as you reach the end, she's like, "Oh, I get it. So you're saying I'm a leech? You're saying that what I've done my whole life, and what my daddy did his whole life, and what his daddy did his whole life, and what his daddy did his whole life, you're saying that is evil? You're calling us evil, are you?"
Dentrum,
I will.
No need to do that.
Yeah.
You can just stay quiet. No, we're not calling you a leech.
Yeah, and I will kind of gesture at her and like not aggressively, but I'll kind of turn my hand to kind of like, hey, like, yeah, calm. And I will also say like, thank you, Timbo. And I'll reach into my satchel and I'll say, what I'm trying to say is that there is another way. You can live in harmony with Tondu. And I'm going to hold up the piece of the table. I was like, this is a piece of stone crafted in those mines. Off of the edge of a table, it was scorched. In a place that we found, tragically, the bodies of your comrades burned. It was warm and burned to the touch and glittered faintly when we passed it. And sometime after our audience with Tondu, it looked like this. And I'll hold it up and show her the crystals now growing. And I'll say, and this was in a brief matter of time. This is renewable, but you have to live in harmony with this dragon.
Asnar says, "Are you saying that there's a dragon in there that's creating Tondite?"
Oh,
It's not only creating
did I
it, it
forget
is
to mention that
bound
bit?
to it. Life and soul. And it is not going to accept being your factory. There has to be harmony. There has to be a mutual agreement. Do you understand?
Asnar looks at Dentrum and says, "Could this work with could it work this way?" And Dentrum is just like, "No!" She looks at Murph and is like, "Let me ask you something. What did your daddy do his whole life?"
I have no idea.
Oh,
Ooh.
"Oh, you've no idea. Oh, that's sad." Turns to Keelan. Is like, "What about your dad? What did your father do?"
He was a hunter.
"Oh, a hunter. And how would you feel if some strangers came walking into your town and said, 'Oh, hunting's evil. You shouldn't do that no more. And you gotta stop hunting now, and you've got to go and make friends with all the animals and ask them if they want to be hunted first.'
I don't
Screw
know.
this." And
Dentrum,
Dentrum
again,
go ahead.
again, we're not telling you you're evil. We're just looking for a way. Tandu told us in 300 years there won't be any more Tondite if you guys go on like this. So if your child wants to do the same job as his daddy, you can live together with the dragon, or else he'll have to find another job.
Aye, well, he would say that, wouldn't he? Give me, Tembo, give me persuasion. Gonna be a high DC on this one. 20 DC.
Oh, jeez. Persuasion.
Not your forte.
Can I give him a bit of bardic inspiration on this?
Oh.
I wouldn't bother. I'd save it.
Too late.
Yep.
Okay.
Dentrum looks at the king and at Asnar and goes, if you just want to make this deal with this lot, you go right ahead and I'll pack my bags. And she slams the table and just walks out of the room. Kalanoin turns to you and says, can the dragon really be reasoned with?
He's open for discussion.
We stand before you. We stood before him.
Not many people chat with a dragon and get to leave.
Let that be a testament to our ability in this matter.
If you are correct that this dragon can create Tondite, and it can be a source that renews into the future, we will agree. Please return and tell this beast that we will agree.
And he needs a ramp as well. Can you build a ramp?
A ramp? Of course we can build a ramp.
Yeah, ramp.
Is that all it asked for?
Oh, no, but I just think it would be nice to give it a ramp, you know. It's like a gesture of goodwill. I'll tell them we'll sort him a ramp. Don't worry, we'll have it.
Why would a dragon need a ramp?
Because his wing is short.
These are dwarves we're talking about. Think big, they could build him a new wing.
I love that. Any good artificers around?
I look at Murph and
honestly, that would be so sick. That would be very cool.
Murph and I'm like,
cyborg dragon.
Bunch of prostheses, yeah.
My question would be though, if he can regrow the Tondite, as it is his life force, he should be able to regenerate himself. So maybe it will heal him.
I mean, maybe if it's allowed to. It's allowed to flourish. It might. I mean, that's who can say.
The king says, "We will agree to build a ramp if that is what is desired."
And maybe some salt marsh lamb, some beef we chatted about, and we need to find him a hot wife.
Find him a wife.
Yeah. But I said to him, these dwarves, they're very good under mountains, but they're not very good at finding dragon booty. So we'll deal with that end.
Very well.
Yeah.
Not sure I quite agree with the characterization, but it sounds like the deal is struck.
Unless you want to come with us?
No. He laughs. I do not. I have other matters to attend to. But please, let him know that we will agree.
I understand. This is not an important enough matter for your attention. The fate of your civilization.
And frankly, I have no desire to wander further into those caves at this time.
Yeah, probably best. I'm sure you would love to meet each other. You'd be able to chat loads of stuff, but we can save that for a later date.
Perhaps that day will come.
Yeah. And in my mind, sort of Yawn and Murph are sort of just like pulling on me as I'm still just fucking talking shit to the king. And I'm like looking back and I'm like, yours
is very subtly just like,
you guys, you'll get on like a house on fire. I mean, probably not literally on fire. And as we just leave, and then Tembo is also like just pushing me as well.
So are we going back to Tondu? Is that the plan?
Yep.
Um,
Oh, before, do we see Dentrum anywhere?
Dentrum, no, they've gone who knows where. They don't appear to be in the vicinity. You don't see them near the forge. Not clear where they are.
And
Asnar?
Asnar, is he there?
He's there.
yeah, how has he reacted to all of this? Is he
He does what the king says.
okay?
And what is... I say to him, Asnar, Dentrum, what's her deal?
Hey, she's just a bit of a hothead. She's, as you can tell, very protective of her family's name and quite quick to react. Me, I'm quite excited by the possibility of having a dragon as potentially an ally. That could be incredibly useful for lots of reasons.
Yeah. Pretty cool chatting to a dragon, Asnar. But Dentrum, she doesn't have like a influence on any factions under the mountain.
She's the forge master, so the workers on the forge are obedient to her, aye, but they'll fall in line. They'll fall in line if they're told.
They swear loyalty to the king.
Aye, of course.
We're not going to end up with some sort of rebellion on our hands.
Oh no, I should hope not. Dentrum's their boss, but if the order comes from the king, I can't see anyone who feels differently will be encouraged to keep it to themselves.
I guess no combat today then. No, just joking. We better go see this dragon. Would you like to come with us, Abnar? As an envoy of your people?
He goes, aye, I'll come. He goes, as long as you don't mind me standing in the doorway, so I can make a quick exit if things go ill.
I think that's fine. I think he would love to meet you.
Then lead the way. So you guys return, and Asnar follows along, and sure enough, he stands at the doorway as you return to the room. As you enter, Tondu, his head emerges, and once again he leaps down to kind of around the same position that he was in last time. He looks at you and looks beyond you and sees Asnar at the back wall and says, I see you have brought one of the usurpers.
We bring with us an envoy to witness this momentous day. We have come to an agreement, Tondu.
And what is that agreement?
They would like to broker peace and find a mutually beneficial arrangement for you and their kind.
So they are content not to have the Tondite?
At this, I'm going to kind of hesitantly but excitedly sort of walk forward enough to where, like, maybe, and hold up the piece of the table, like, for Tondu to approach and see.
Mm-hmm. He walks over and, like, sniffs it.
Yeah, and I will...
What is this?
Tondu, this is a piece of a table that you bathed in your dragon fire. And when we passed it on our way to our first encounter with you, we could see the faint glimmer of crystal. And look at it now. And I'll hold it up where, like, to his giant eye. So he can...
The crystals, since you carved that piece of the table away, have got slightly bigger again.
And I'll say they yet grow. It is renewable, Tondu.
He takes a good 20 seconds of just silence and just like you can almost see the wheels turning in his head. He goes, "Are you saying that I made this?"
I'm saying that your fire seeded into the stone, the mineral.
He says, "When the second dwarven party, when they came to my lair, I tried to fight them with my bite, and with my claws, and with my tail. As a last resort, I breathed fire for the very first time. Never in my life before had I done so. And now
I'm going to step back from him a good distance, and I'm going to point to a place away from all of us and say, "Tondu, would you show us your flame there?"
Give me persuasion.
Okay. Yeah, like I want him to see with his own eyes, like what is happening here. All right, so this is going to be +6. Oh, come on, persuasion, please.
You're a bard. This should be bread and butter, surely.
Yeah, for real. This would be awesome. Okay.
There you go.
Is that a 20?
It's a
no, it's not.
It's a 21.
I thought it was
it's
a
21
for a second. I was about to lose my mind.
He backs up a couple of steps and looks at he sort of has a sort of furrowed brow. He looks confused. And
I'm just gonna kind of like nod, like yeah.
He looks at the ground nearby, and just like you can tell, it's not full power. He kind of and as he goes to do it, he sort of splutters and sort of whoa, and just breathes a quick blast of fire at the ground, and then almost like a dog, he just starts sniffing the ground where he's just done this. You see this scorch mark on the floor, and he starts sniffing and goes,
yeah.
And then as the smoke rises, he peers at it and sees the faintest glimmer and begins to weep. All this time. He looks up at the ceiling and lets rip and just blasts. What's that?
The power was inside you all this time.
He rears back and blasts the ceiling, and it's a protracted, full power fire blast from his mouth. Hits the ceiling of this cavern way up above you, and he just holds it there. And he holds it for so long that you see massive Tondite crystals emerge through the fire, pushing it back. And this enormous crystal of Tondite emerges from the ceiling. He stops breathing fire and looks up wide-eyed at this and is like, And as he does so, you can see his left wing begins to regenerate. Flesh attaches to bone. Sinew, muscle begins to attach and generate in its place. And you hear something that you never thought you'd hear. He laughs. A real like ha 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 ha, and he rips another load of fire across the ceiling, and you just see this trail of Tondite emerge from the rock above you. And he just continues to laugh. And he starts to, like, you witness him sort of almost become younger, it seems. You know, he becomes more sprightly. He starts to move around the cavern more freely. His breathing becomes less laboured. Even Asnar steps forward into the cavern. And as he does so, from behind, Dentrum comes running into the cavern, shoves Asnar in the back into the molten Tondite, and he goes flying in.
You bastard!
And before anything else can happen, Dentrum just like throws an axe at a Tondite crystal, trying to just chip some off. And Tondu, you see him kind of let out a yelp of pain as this axe hits the Tondite. And Tondu whips round and goes, "Usurper! Betrayers!" And lets out this almighty roar.
Using my longbow, can I shoot her in the face?
Yeah, she's got to go.
To try and quell
that's peddling.
Give her hell.
I'm assuming that she's within 150 feet of me.
Certainly is.
And,
Mikey, have you used your bardic inspiration yet?
I have not.
Okay.
And I thought Killian also has a bow.
Yes.
Yep.
Should we double tap her?
We can do.
Okay, so my hit die is, let me see.
I'm preparing. If they miss, I'm preparing Guiding Bolt.
Love it.
Yeah, and I've got plenty of stuff to deal with her with too.
Plus
D20 plus my hit, right?
I think technically here I should ask you to roll for initiative, but let's see how these rolls go first, and we'll see what happens.
Sure.
Because I guess she's not expecting us to shoot her in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And you said the bardic inspiration is 1d8?
1d8. Yeah, add it to your roll.
And I can add,
Not damage, but your roll to success.
attack roll.
Yeah.
Roll.
I have 18.
I somehow only rolled 8.
Where's your roll, Atlas? What was it?
Did it not work?
The last roll I can see from you is a 12. Is that what I'm looking at?
D12 plus D8 plus 4 is what you rolled.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Where is that? Am I being stupid?
Oh, it's there at the bottom of the
So yeah, I managed to roll 2 2s.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And a 4 somehow.
Two
Oh, okay.
2s and a 4. Temper,
Minus
did you
that
say you were
damage.
going to do a guiding bolt on that?
Yep. Guiding Bolt.
And just remind us what that does.
Oh, I've actually
Only
rolled that
damage
wrong.
and gives advantage to the next attack
Okay.
against that.
Ooh, Timbo.
I have rolled that wrong, so let me re-roll that.
You did
Okay.
I
a...
rolled.
Keelan, you rolled pretty
I-
good too, didn't you? 18?
Yeah, you needed a 20 instead of a 12, right?
Yeah, I rolled a fucking 12.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, that explains
We'll do
everything.
a mulligan.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's my fault.
Everybody gets one.
Mikey.
Oh, jeez. Was not meant to be.
So I have an
Atlas
18.
and Keelan whip round and immediately retaliate with archery fire towards Dentrum.
Yes.
Atlas's whistles past the ear, and as Dentrum turns to watch it fly past her head, she gets Keelan's in the back of it and drops to the floor, dead.
Oh,
Boom!
clean.
Headshots.
Nice.
And I high five Killian.
Asnar, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, there's no saving Asnar, is there?
I fear not.
Oh, horrible.
Tondu is kind of het up and sort of on guard now and says, I told you that the dwarves could not be trusted.
No, my friend. That was a rogue dwarf. We thought she was going to cause problems, but we couldn't find her. The king himself agreed to this deal. If he comes here in person, will you accept his apology for this idiot woman who's killed our friend Asnar?
He says, he looks at the group of you. He looks from one to the next and says, I believe that in our dealings you have all spoken truthfully. Do you swear that this dwarf was acting alone and without the kings?
I believe it so much that you can keep me hostage here whilst the rest of the group goes back to fetch the king. And we can have a chat.
You would offer yourself as a hostage willingly?
It is my sworn oath.
Then I have no need of it. Thank you, one and all. He looks around at the cave and says, I never wished to use this power. My entire life I sought to avoid using it, and now I see all that could be done. I will restore these caverns. Tell the king that he and his people may collect Tondite. And if they should find a slamming young hottie dragon,
Oh, baby!
send her my way. He breathes another blast of fire at the wall, and the rest of his wing regenerates. And he looks at Tembo and says, it turns out I was wrong. You did help me after all. Ha ha ha! Ha ha! He blasts a load more Tondite around the cavern and says, I hope this will tide them over. For now, Tondu will see the sky for the first time in 800 years. Farewell, friends! And he flies. You see, he flaps his wings out wide and rises up into the air and dives into one of the caverns, and you hear him move at a hell of a pace and letting out the most joyous noise, blasting little shots of fire as he goes, and just this amazing joyous dragon sound that sounds like a horn echoing through the caverns, and that Tondu disappears from view.
Yorn, a tear runs down his cheek, and he says to himself, to everybody, to no one in particular, this album is going to be so fucking sick, man.
So, Abnar, can we see his,
Asnar, he's dead, man.
Asnar.
Respect him.
So, Asnar, fuck my life.
Respect Asnard, okay?
Asnard. In my mind, because this is like a crystal magma, it's sort of crystallized him.
I fear You are being optimistic.
Okay, I'm being optimistic.
I would say all that was of him has departed this land.
Has departed.
He's burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, he's out of there, man.
I wanted him to be like a little statue. We could just like.
He has ceased to be biology and has now become physics, I'm afraid.
It's like the end of T2. Come on.
Yeah. Thumbs up as he sinks into the
that's exactly
molten Tondite.
Exactly.
Okay, so what was that woman's name again?
The Forge Master is Dentrum.
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 Dentrum. Am I right?
Dentrum.
Hey.
I cut off her head with my
toothpaste.
sword,
Nice.
and I kick the rest of the body into the magma lava.
Cool.
And
returning to the king. Is that the
let's go
plan?
see the king.
I think so. Yeah.
You make your way back through. Of course, one thing that you see as you exit back through is once again those crystals have continued to grow a little bit. They're still very small, but you spot that, and obviously the dragon chamber where you were is now filled with Tondite. The amount that was in there when you arrived, Tondu said he thought it would power anything for 300 years. There's now 10 times that. As you arrive back at Iron Glen, you return to the council chamber and return to Kalanoin III, who's sitting in his chair reading a book about the history of the mountains. He looks up as you enter and says, "Is it done?"
It is done.
This is done as well, and I roll her head like a bowling ball to his feet. And I say,
"Yeah, go on."
Asnar is dead. She killed him, and she tried to derail your command of peace with the dragon. So we eliminated her for you. I will add it to the bill.
He goes, "Well, her family have been incredible forge masters for generations. But she was also a pain in the ass. I guess we'll need a new one." He says, "But Asnar is dead as well. That is grave news. And what of the dragon? What of the Tondite?"
Virile.
Yeah.
Virile?
The dragon
Oh.
thrives. And there is more Tondite than you could ever hope to utilize.
And I don't need to ramp again.
Yeah.
And the ramp is good. The ramp is off.
86 the ramp.
Ramp.
And you're just like, ugh.
You
It's
see,
just like a...
you see, he looks a bit disappointed, and he grabs what you briefly see looks like a bit of a sketched blueprint, and he just crumples it up in his hands, throws it over his shoulder into a little fire. He's like, "No
Perhaps
ramp,
it could
no
be-
ramp, got it."
Perhaps some sort of structure to honor Tondu would be in order.
a giant bed for him to bang his new wife.
Yeah, an altar for him to get married on.
I think in honor of Tondite, Tondu. Fucking my life. What's wrong with me today?
I don't know.
I think you should name your royal guard after him, because he will always have your back.
Well, I don't really see why not. They don't really have a name, I guess.
Maybe arm.
They could also have like a sick dragon motif on their shields. And they could probably have like scales, and Tembo's just hits me in the face with a trunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, as you're going on, he sort of puts a hand on your shoulder. He's like, "You're an ideas man, I can tell. This will all be taken under advisement." He says,
"You'll need something. I'll need a pen and paper, please."
I'll just wrap my trunk around his mouth and start dragging him around.
There you go.
Dragging him back.
A stage hook, just pull him off.
He looks at you all and says, "You have done a great service to the land. Tell the Elven King that we will send great store from the forge once a new forge master is installed. And for each of you, I give 200 gold. Spend it well and in good health, and may the relations between dwarves and elves and orcs and drow and Loxodon be renewed once more. Thank you for your service. Go now with the peace of all dwarves and all the peoples of Playdeen behind you." He guides you out of the room and kind of shuts the door while Atlas is still sort of yelling little ideas back about, like, maybe you could have like a picture of a dragon on the way in.
I think the colours should be purple and gold. And
we
need to talk flowers. So here's what we need.
You set off to walk out. And head out of the main gates, and your eyes adjust to the blinding light of the outside world after
hood's going back on Yorn's head
after the day inside Iron Glen. As you head off on the road back towards Elisandia, you look up at the mountains on your west, and through the clouds, you can just see the distant shape of a dragon flying high above. You witness, you hear the joyous noise that you heard as Tondu left the caverns, and you see him let out a huge blast that strikes the tip of the mountain directly above Iron Glen, and henceforth this peak would forever be known as the Glittering Peak, and it would always
This is a bird?
catch
This is a plane?
the light,
No.
and from every angle would glint and give off this radiant orange light for miles. And that, I think, ends today's adventure.
Martin was phenomenal.
The Glittering Peak is born. Thanks all for playing.
Are you sure there aren't any like goblins that are going to ambush us on the way back?
We'll eat them.
You never fight.
What's that? Oh, it's 10 goblins! Quick, get your sword out.
Decimate goblin horde.
A weirdly quiet road, just so strange. Unnaturally quiet, I would say. I would say,
probably there was the dragon.
There was a couple of opportunities for a bigger combat in that, which you guys sidestepped. So you're just too diplomatic, Atlas, is the problem.